Sick and tired of your love-hate relationship with wine?
Welcome to the Feel It Alcohol Free podcast. Hi, I'm Coach Ruby Williams.
And I'm Coach Susan Larkin.
We're two former wine lovers turned alcohol freedom coaches, exposing the lies about alcohol
and giving you, our listeners, the tools to break free so you can feel lit.
And when you're lit, you'll feel healthier, freer, and more in control of your life.
So relax, kick back, and get ready to feel lit alcohol free.
Welcome back to the Feel It Alcohol Free podcast. Susan and I are here, and we're so excited to share all of our wisdom. And we have a really, really good question from our listeners, and we hear this from our clients. So everyone talks about how great it is after you stop drinking, but I'm not feeling it. So what do I do when I'm not feeling lit? Yeah, isn't this such a good question? Can you relate to this, Susan?
Yeah, I hear that. And I know that, we talk about being lit all the time. And, we do talk about how much better life is on the other side of alcohol. Although stopping drinking isn't a magic bullet, doesn't mean, that everything in your life is going to magically, turn into rainbows and unicorns. And after, I guess at my point, I was at a little over 100 days and I just sort of fell apart. I was feeling like, I don't know how I'm going to stay married. I was so happy I was not drinking. That was in this category, but then there's over here, and just the stuff. I think that a lot of times there's things in our life that we've been stuffing down with alcohol or covering up with alcohol. And there's this period of time where you have to deal with those things now that you're not just, drinking them away. And so that can sometimes not feel great, but that's part of the process of creating this life that you want to wake up to. And let's face it, shit happens. And so not every day is a life you want to wake up to, not every, right? Even years into being alcohol free, stuff happens that isn't great. I think that there's this, sometimes we can go into alcohol freedom with an expectation that sets us up for disappointment, possibly. What were your expectations,
or maybe you
it?
felt that pink cloud feeling for a while, and then when that goes away, and we've talked about anhedonia and that blah feeling. I mean, that could be what's happening. I think for me and my story, it was more like I started to feel all these emotions and I didn't know what to do. And, but I did know I was handling things better. I think what I do when I work with clients and I kind of go through, each month one, and I really what are you feeling that's different or better? And then month two, because I think a lot of people kind of forget. You forget that oh, I used to wake up with a friggin' horrible hangover every morning. And you kind of forget, you have that, fading effect bias, I guess, which we've also talked about. We've talked about a lot of topics on here, which you can go back and find. But I think it's the emotion, a lot of the emotions. And then you mentioned a really good point. You may have to repair your finances. You may have to repair some relationship. You may have to repair the relationship with yourself and find that kind of true, authentic self-love. Yeah, all of these things are happening after you get alcohol free. There's still a lot of work,
Yeah, a lot of work. And that's okay. There's always this, I do think there's this conception that when do I get there? Sometimes clients are when am I going to be there? And there's no there, it is a journey, and it's an ongoing journey that just keeps evolving. And, and anhedonia is a real thing too. Our bodies, if we drank for 40 years, 30 years, however long, and depending on how much you were drinking also, and everybody's different, there's a lot of repair that has to go on. Our neurotransmitters are shot, some of them, and it takes time. So after 100 days, are your neurotransmitters all nourished? And no, our brain is still a little bit out of whack. And to your point of we forget how bad we felt. Like I remember it was not even a year. So it was, about 9 months. I got the COVID shot and it made me feel so sick. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is how I used to feel every Saturday morning. Like I felt hungover after this COVID shot and reminded me like, whoa, I really do feel so much better. But you get used to it. Like you said, all of a sudden feeling better becomes the new norm. And we don't realize we don't remember really how bad we did feel sometimes. So yeah, it's all those things and it's still worth it. You know,
you say it every time I think we do one of these recordings that we've never heard anybody say that they wish they were still drinking, that they don't. I mean, maybe you don't have that rainbows and unicorns like every day because life is lifey. You know, life still is happening, but we get to, I love that phrase too, but like handle things better, handle things with a clear head, you know, instead of a foggy head or wanting to just numb and check out, you know, we can maybe really resource ourselves, right? I want to segue into that because I know you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I think resourcing ourselves even for those times when we do want to check out, like we're just not going to check out with alcohol, but how do we downshift? How do we, when we're overstimulated or we are in a sympathetic, anxious, stressed out, how do we calm down or soothe ourselves? And I was just talking to a client, she was mentioning about just wanting to, you know, went and sat by the fire pit and read her book, and she has a water fountain. And I'm like, that's beautiful. The fire, the warmth, the reading your book. Like for me, that's my go-to is I need to check out, like I've had enough. Today's enough. I need to go. I will read. Reading just as an escape for me. Like this is when we talk about drinking as an escape, right? Like, so what are other ways that you can resource yourself to escape? You know, what feels good for you? What helps you downshift? A beautiful crackling fire, warm blanket, petting your dog. You know, what are some ways that really allow, you know, other resources, other tools we can use to downshift when, or even, you know, I've talked about just, well, with clients, I've talked about even what is that thing you do when you do just want to check out? Like sometimes I just I binge watch something.
That's what I do.
Out, you know?
I will go to TV. Yeah. We've talked about that before. And it's okay.
And not that you want to do it every night, right? Yeah. But it's okay sometimes. And not to shame ourselves for that. Not to what I see with clients is then they shame themselves and go, oh, I'm supposed to be alcohol free and have this life that I want to wake up to, but I don't. So there must be something wrong with me. And that's just not true. Like life is lifey and, you know.
Yeah. Do you remember, it just made me think of this, that I set my alarm to a really beautiful song and it helps because like I'm laying there in bed. Yeah. Instead of like waking up and, my automatic might have been, you know, oh my gosh, what's wrong? What do I have to do today? Oh, you know, but this song, it's like, so you could pick your favorite song and something that's like, I don't know, my son's, he tells me, we had this talk and he has the Beatles, the morning, Good Morning Sunshine song. Oh. And my song, it starts out with like, I'm so grateful to be happy. I'm so grateful to be free or something. And it's all about like just being grateful that you woke up, that you get today, that there's so many possibilities.
Yes.
And it's a choice, you know, to
it's
make
a beautiful
that
song.
Yeah.
Well, so it's, you know, when we roomed together, when we went to different workshops and stuff, it's by Copper Women, which I think we should put a link in the show notes or, you know, in our Facebook group because it's a beautiful
let's
song.
do it.
And what I love about it is I've decided to be happy. Those are the lyrics. I've decided to be glad. Like there's a decision there, which makes all the difference. Like you said, I get to get up today. I get to, I was complaining about my upcoming big birthday and my sister-in-law was, well, it's better than being dead. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
You're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
you get
I
to
get to
experience
have another
life
birthday.
at your next birthday. I won't mention the unless you want to tell her.
Not
Wait,
yet.
what? No, what'd you say? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think what's really important about this alcohol-free journey is just to really notice the glimmers. Where we got this from Coach Pam. She was like our first guest, and that was her Feel Lit. And we're gonna talk about some of our favorite Feel Lits here today too, and noticing and appreciating and getting present, like what like right now. Wherever you are, you can maybe appreciate something.
One thing, even
yeah.
if it's just one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And notice notice the times throughout the day that you do feel content or happy or feel a little bit of joy. And it doesn't last forever, you guys. We cannot be in a state of happiness, for right? It's like this seesaw. We've got pleasure and pain, and it kind of is happening all day long, or it happens in periods of our life. And I can even look at this alcohol-free journey and find the gift and so much gratitude that I had alcohol addiction, because now I can experience those glimmers when I was always kind of in that despair. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally does.
Yeah.
I think also we think we're going to just be stuck there. And I think life is cyclical. And in the beginning of letting go of alcohol, we could be going through a winter season. I'm just like letting go of alcohol, letting go of fears and beliefs about ourselves, learning new resources. Then we move into spring, like learning new resources and all of our newfound learning. Our emotional sobriety is like little shoots. We're expecting to have a full grown bush, right? A full grown flowering rose, but it's just the start, and there's little buds, and it just takes time. But we'll go through that cycle, and then we'll go through another cycle of winter death, fall, letting go of the leaves. Sometimes different parts of our lives can be in different cycles as well. But life is not just straight and up to the right, just like we say even about our alcohol-free journey. It's never just straight and up to the right. There's always these curly cues, and it's cyclical. It's more of a labyrinth. You go around and around. You're in a different place, but you may feel like you're in the same place, but you're one rung in. As we continue to learn and grow, and allow yourself to, I think when we don't allow ourselves to be in the winter season because it's uncomfortable, that's when we get stuck, is when we fight it. But if you just allow it to be, and also know that spring will come,
But even in the winter, what do you notice? Maybe it's that fireplace, or, sitting with a warm blanket and hot cocoa. Like, I'm just being more literal now, but you can still appreciate all the seasons, even though it might be darker out, literally. But what can you notice? There's glimmers. There's glimmers every day. It's also where you put your focus. But I think what I'm trying to, put the nail, like hammer here, is that I think that sometimes we do get stuck thinking that it's just not good enough. I'm not there yet. I'm not feeling, Susan and Ruby talk about feeling lit, and I'm just not feeling lit. And I want you to challenge yourself, and get curious and start to just really notice when you are feeling the little glimmers. Yeah. 'Cause it is a choice. Yeah.
Yeah. But then that's another way we can shame ourselves. So I just really want to especially take that shame out of it. If you're not feeling lit, then that's your reality. You know what I mean? But also, is that a sweeping statement? Is it not an all or nothing statement? Is there one little tiny place where you do feel lit? Do you feel lit in your pinky?
A little glimmer.
Like you said, one thing. That was an exercise for me that helped me really get through a winter phase in my life. It was every night, can I just come up with one thing to be grateful for? Only one. And that does help. Like, 'cause sometimes we are, it is a tough season, and that's okay. That's okay. And there's no shame in that. But I still feel like no matter what, I'm better off if I'm not drinking. But your subconscious brain, especially, 100 days, even a year into it, will go, no. Well, you know what? You were so much happier when you were drinking. Like, this sucks. This is no good. Like, because it still wants that old dopamine hit every now and then, like when we're painting that black or white picture, that's when it rears its ugly head, so to speak, and will sometimes try to give you a permission giving thought and that's where we have to poke holes in it. Is that really true? Is there something, that is better because I'm not drinking? Like, really, especially if it's an all or nothing statement, like everything was better when I was drinking. Oh, well, let's see. Is that really true?
Yeah,
Those
or
kind of
is that
statements.
a story? Yeah.
Is that a story you're telling yourself? Yeah.
I love to ask that question. Yeah. Is that a story you're telling yourself?
And what other stories are there? There's other narratives. Yeah. So, but it is a permission giving thought, that comes up. If the end result is drinking, then it's permission giving thought. And so just being aware of that, being aware that could come up, because I do also think people are sometimes really shocked if they have the thought of drinking after they've had a significant amount of time alcohol free. And then they also think there's something wrong with them. And it's like, nothing could be further from the truth. That is just a thought. Yeah.
Thoughts come and go like clouds, and feelings come and go. And if you can see that everything is just temporary, cyclical, got seasons to it, seasons throughout the day, seasons throughout the week, seasons throughout the month, seasons throughout the year, seasons throughout decades. You can really go and realize that there are glimmers and probably struggles in every season and every day. Yeah. Every day there's probably something you could say, this is a real struggle. But you can also say, I felt joy, or I laughed, or I turned on some music and danced around my living room. That's another feel it. I'm going to try to sprinkle them in. Yeah. I love that. Music changes my mood no matter what. I remember leaving work one time and just it was just I don't know if it was a Friday, but it was just that old feeling of, today was horrible. Mm-hmm. And I all of a sudden got that feeling of like, I just want to go home and drink wine. I was like, it was all over me. And I was like, but I'm not going to go home and drink wine. I don't really want to feel like this. Do I need to feel like this? Was today really that horrible? And then I just put music on. And by the time I got home, I'm like, I'm perfectly fine. It was sometimes we have, I call them body memories, just old, it's a cue. The cue is leaving the garage of work. And it was just an old, today sucked kind of memory, a practice that I had almost every day, because the end result of that thought and that feeling was that I go home and drink. But then now I'm not going home and drinking. And so then all of a sudden I'm like, I don't really want to feel like this. Do I need to feel like this?
Yeah. And what music changed that. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I hear is you were aware of the thought, and then you got curious, and then you used a tool, which was music. Maybe you didn't realize it at the time, but I'm like, you just totally. And then maybe you said with self-compassion, of course I'm going to have that thought because it's just an old story that I used to do.
Yeah. No, I knew I was using the tool of music, and I didn't know if it would work or not, but it did. So that's good.
I love music too. Dancing really around. Works. Yeah. So are there any other tips? Because let me go back to the question again. I want to keep on this. So they're asking what do I do when I'm not feeling lit? And I know we were going to come up with some ideas for this listener. Yeah.
Well,
what else?
What do you do is you accept it, I guess, is where are you? I would love this idea of so where in your life is a winter season, but where in your life is a spring season, and where in your life is summer,
or harvest,
and then where in your life is harvest. Because it's never black and white, everything, so in one area of your life you may be struggling, and it may be a winter and you're letting go, or you're feeling very shut down, or this is closed off, or you're ending some things. But then there's other areas of your life where there's new beginnings. So just maybe using the analogy of the seasons to kind of, because it's usually that's a sweeping statement. I'm not feeling lit. well, and are you never feeling lit? Do you never feel a little tiny bit of joy? You know what I mean? Like, and then is there an expectation? Did you, think about it. Did you have some sort of expectation of how life was supposed to be based on blah, blah, blah?
And then who says, did that question, who says? Yeah. And yes, like Susan and I have said over and over again, we feel better alcohol free. Life is better. We're making better decisions. All these things are true, but we also get sick, have relationship problems, financial like you name it, we've gone through it still while we're alcohol free. So, but we just handle it better, and we can notice those glimmers. I did think of one idea. So for the listeners that might be in this place, like can you go ahead and like get a piece of paper out and journal or just write down, like, when are your moments that you feel most alive? Like, get really specific, Is it when you're moving, like exercise, or when I do yoga, I feel so alive, when I'm jumping in the ocean for my ocean plunges, I feel lit, I feel alive. So what are those for you? Everybody's different. Is it being in nature, or when are you like really alive, like calm alive? For me, it's when I'm noticing all my, like I hear nature, or I feel the grass in my feet. Really grounding into nature is so, I don't know, I feel so alive. Like I'm literally a part of the universe and nature, and like that's when when I'm smelling a flower or walking my dog, or maybe it's the music like we were talking about. Is it music, or do you feel really alive when you're like having coffee with a close friend and just getting into that real authentic conversation? Dinner parties to me, or game nights, or when I'm with friends, I feel so alive. Yeah. When I'm laughing, maybe it's funny videos or
funny YouTube. Laughing is so great. I think that there are people though that are like, I don't have any of those things. I don't do ocean plunges, Ruby, or I don't. So I think then, like, if you've been drinking for a long time, you just don't know what brings you joy, or where you feel lit at all, then that's not to shame yourself, but to go back to your childhood, maybe, of what did you do as a kid? Like, was it swinging on the swings? Was it rollerblading, roller skating, laughing with a friend? And then the work is, okay, if you don't have any friends right now, what's one tiny, and that you think that's something that that would help you, then what's one tiny action step you can take towards finding a meetup group, going to a church group, going to a library book talk, one tiny step that you can take in that direction. Because I think sometimes alcohol has gotten us very isolated, very stuck, and we just don't have any resources. And so, there has to be a place to start. But so I think sometimes what I talk is a smile test, is like, think back on things from just your whole life of when did you feel alive. And if it brings a teeny smile to your face, then jot that down and like try to make, see if there's possibility to take a step in that direction. Yeah.
And it would be fun to do a huge list too. I mean, my idea was just do 3 things. But what if you also could do a huge, like everything you've ever, like on mind, like a bucket list kind of thing. Like I always wanted to learn how to surf, or also I love that your idea of going back to childhood. We do this a lot with our coaching, is like, what did you used to like to do? Yeah. And then it's micro commitments. In fact, working with a coach or having a community where you have accountability can really work, like just a tiny thing. And then if you say it out loud to someone, another human being, or write it down, like I will look up Meetup and see if there's any meetup groups in my area that sound fun, just even to look it up. And then when you look it up, you might actually sign up,
or volunteer.
Or volunteer.
Pet cats at there's a cat cafe here in New Haven where you can just go and sit there and pet their cats if you like cats. Like, you don't even have to have a cat. You just go borrow other people's cat, or you go to the cat cafe. And I think that's neat. Like, if you're like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, I had a cat and I really love cats, or volunteer at the animal shelter. But sometimes even those steps just seem too big. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Community, because you probably feel like you're the only person, and that's not true. Like, hearing from other people, I'm in a winter phase or I'm struggling, can also just help so much. And your community can be those other women like us and others that have stopped drinking, and there's camaraderie there, and there's we have that Me Too element. And so even if it's a virtual group, the community is just so important, I think. To find that and working with a coach too, like, what do you need to replenish those neurotransmitters? Maybe your tiny action step is eating a banana every day because of the potassium, or, adding one, nutritional supplement in that's going to, help to resource that neurotransmitter that eventually is going to help me feel better in my body. If it's a nutrition thing, if it's movement. I mean, for me, a walk, covers 1,000 sins. A walk or whatever. A walk helps everything to me. It helps if I'm sad. It helps to enhance if I'm happy. It helps if I'm sad. It helps if I'm angry. It helps if I'm lethargic. A walk just does. It's like the Swiss Army knife of resources to me. Like, if you can just get out and go for a walk, even if it's like even if you're not fit, and you can go, you can walk for 5 minutes. That's a great place to start.
It's a micro commitment.
Yeah. I love that. Micro commitments. Yeah.
Well, I know you and I, we coach people around being alcohol free. But we also realize that there's a huge need for this community and connection for people that are exactly in the place that we've been talking about, or, our past clients that might be, they're alcohol free, but maybe they're still not just feeling better, not feeling how they think they should feel. So that's why we created this, the Feel Lit for Life group. We actually created a group just for you, if you're in this place. We mentioned a lot of the things. Like, I know one of the month we're going to talk about making adult friendships, making friends. I'm trying to think of some of the other topics we have, like, something every single month that we think can really help, like tapping into your future self, or are you a people pleaser, or finding your purpose.
Learning
a lot
more
of
self-compassion.
Yeah. Every month we were talking about self-compassion, but it's kind of like making peace with your past, and then finding out how to live more present, and really just exactly what we're talking about today. What lights you up, like really cultivating that, and then just building that future that you don't want to escape from. Yeah.
And again, no shame, no blame. You are where you are. I think that added the third arrow of blaming and shaming ourselves because we're not where we think everybody's saying we should be. Everybody on social media that, is saying how great it is being alcohol free. Again, it's just like, that's social media, And, we don't make posts like, oh, I really feel like crap today. Maybe we should. Let's be real, people. Ruby's just laughing. Like,
I'm laughing because Susan. I do sometimes feel like crap today.
Yeah.
But it's way better crap than when I was drinking. I will say that. I mean,
that is
you know
true.
what I mean?
Yeah. It's like clean crap. Yeah.
Smelling of roses crap? No, I don't know.
Yeah. No. Oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
I think, So I think, it's just that perspective. And again, it's our sneaky little mind coming in and going, well, it's not as good as it's all cracked up to be. Maybe you should go back to drinking, and again, that's a permission giving thought. And that's not what you want to do. I promise you. The crap's still better not drinking.
Well, I know we already talked a lot about the Feel Lit ideas, but Susan, What are you doing to feel lit these days? Which one do you want to talk about today?
Well, now that it's getting warmer, I'm thrilled to be back out putting my feet in the grass. So I'm super happy about that, which is that grounding, earthing, which I did talk about in one of our other episodes. But it was hard. The winter was hard to not be able to do that because that does bring me so much joy. I feel so grounded in the morning when I'm able to go out there. I do my little connection with God. I connect with nature. Out there just in the sunshine. Of course, on rainy days, I can't do it, but just getting my feet into the grass, bare feet. But the other thing that I wanted to share that I've been talking about in a group that I'm coaching is this idea of cultivating pleasure throughout our day. And I even noticed it in my life. I get up and do my work and I was leaving, reading until I love reading, but I would, my reading time was 9:30, end of the day, right before I go to bed. And I'm like, why am I leaving the thing that brings me pleasure? I'm last, I get to do that at the end of the day, after I've earned it and this idea of cultivating pleasure throughout your day. And so sometimes during a lunch break, I'll go out and sit in the sunshine and set a timer and read for 20 minutes and just cultivate that pleasurable activity into my day, not wait to do that at the end of the day. And it was a really great exercise for everyone. And I think it's life-changing to start to weave. And this could also be something that can help with the blahs or help with this idea of what is pleasurable to you. And let's start our day with that, or just how do we cultivate that into every moment? Do you have some lovely bath gel or shower gel that you can use that smells really good, so your shower smells really good and that's pleasurable? Or do you have, this delicious coffee that you love and so that's pleasure? Really noticing, again, the things that are pleasurable, but also weaving them throughout your day. A walk in the middle of the day, reading in the middle of the day, getting out your knitting, really scheduling throughout your day little times that are pleasurable for you. I think can really make a difference. So I call it cultivating pleasure. And then we kind of went into this idea of our pleasure garden, which sounds a little bit like some sort of X-rated movie. And so we're like, okay, good thing we're all ladies here. We were just cracking up, and then we laughed, and laughter makes you just feel so much better. So yes, what would you cultivate in your pleasure garden?
There's they can have glimmers or moments. I go back to, I think I shared in one of the other episodes about the movie Amelie, and she throughout her day, if she's at the grocery store, she put her hands inside, those bulk beans. And I've done that, it just, you just walk by.
Are you allowed to do that? You're putting your hands in the beans? I guess people need to wash them.
Yeah, you have to wash them. You do. You soak them. But anyway, and then smelling, you walk, when you're walking, I used to smell each and every flower, as I'm going on a walk. There's just so many places that you can find moments of pleasure throughout the day. I love that idea.
Yeah. Or if you like coloring or drawing, just sit down and do it for 20 minutes, in the middle of the day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anything. Even watching a show. If you really like a certain show, why do we wait till nighttime to watch a show? Watch one during, if you work from home, watch a half-hour sitcom at lunch. If that's something, just play around with it and see. Right. Or you like playing your guitar, but you always do that at the end of the night. Why not play it during lunchtime? Or first thing in the morning if it's something you love, and sing along. Or let's think out of the box. I think we've gotten into this sort of lifestyle of get up, go to work, do all the hard things, and then we get to have fun at 9:30 at night. And it's no, let's try to plan some of those things throughout our day. I don't know. What do you think?
I love it. Yeah. I love this conversation so much. And so again, if you are relating to this and are feeling the same way, we'd love for you to join our Feel It for Life, because connection and community, it's so vital. and we can make it fun, to do all this together. And another aspect I forgot to share is that we're having, if you want to take the challenges, like you get to pick your own like challenges each month to like, what do you want to work on this month? And everybody is going to do their own thing. But I love this idea because then you can say it out loud, and you can then create little micro commitments to get started. And then for accountability, check in with the group and say yes, and we will celebrate you and your progress. And maybe you choose the same thing the next month if you don't get as far as you want, or maybe you choose 12 different things every month. It's going to be so much fun.
Or have somebody that is doing it with you, like a walking challenge, and it's almost like walking with a friend. Maybe you even do walk with them, like you call each other while you're walking, and like it's like walking with a friend, even if you're not in the same town. Like there's so many different ways to connect and and help each other with these micro commitments. Trying new things, getting curious, and doing it with others is the plan, is the idea. Yeah.
So hang in there. This is what I want to end with, is that hang in there. If you're not feeling as lit as you want to yet, there's lots of ways that we've mentioned on today's episode, and just honor where you're at. And it's a journey. And just start to notice when you can those glimmers. And we thank you for listening. We love all of our listeners. We'd love to hear from you. Please join our community, or if you want, our Feel It for Life community.
It's going to be so fun.
I know.
Come and join us.
Okay.
It's going to be life-changing, I think. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Feel It Alcohol-Free Podcast. Do you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show?
All you need to do is head over to Apple Podcasts and do two simple things. Leave a rating and review telling us what you think of the show. And in that review, ask us any questions you have about breaking free from wine or living an alcohol-free lifestyle.
That's it. Then tune in to hear your question answered live.
And remember, do something today that will help you feel lit.
Don't forget to check out Feel It 21.
Your alcohol-free adventure awaits.